best-selling author and coach Kathy Williams, a show to help you tap into the supportive universe and access the abundance that's available in every area of your life. Listen in for conversations and tools to create more ease, joy, and possibility with family, relationships, business, and living. Kathy's joyful perspective will help you tap into your own wisdom and create a life of present and abundance your way. Listen live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, or anytime on iTunes or at IOM FM.
Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and I'm super excited about today's show because it was inspired by a listener, and she was essentially asking, Kathy, what are your favorite tools to use when you're feeling crunchy? And so this is a show I have a lot of experience with because there are quite a few moments of crunchiness and opportunities to get beyond it, including this morning. My son did not take his backpack in the car with us this morning, and then he kind of like freaked out when he didn't have it, and he wouldn't go to school without it. So I'll share more about that as we go along. But before we go and get going, I would love to hear from you. Just like this listener, I would love to hear your ideas for shows, your questions, questions about maybe topics I have covered and also things I haven't. And the best place to do that is at meetkathywilliams.com. Just send me your show ideas, your questions, your comments, whatever it is. You can also post below YouTube videos. You can send me a note on Messenger if you don't hear from me and you think you should. I somehow think that Google Gmail does not always deliver emails. I had one guy say, Kathy, I emailed you like 4 times to request a session, and I only got one of those. So where are they going? And they're not going to spam because I checked that too. Lots of weird stuff in there. So the best place to reach me is meetkathywilliams.com, and I'm also Kathy Williams public figure on Instagram and YouTube and all those places. So that's where I post my Hawaii videos, which there are a lot of. So let's dive in. And like I said, there are many opportunities to practice tools to lift our moods, to get uncrunchy when we're feeling off. And one of the first ones I'm going to share is something that you've probably heard if you listen to me quite a bit. And that is an expanding out exercise, because the more we identify with I am this body, I am the person who needs to control things in my life, the easier it is to get crunchy. The less we identify with that, and the more we identify with, wow, you know what? Yes, I'm functioning in and as a body, and also I'm much bigger than that body. The more easy it is to remain relaxed, present, and able to handle whatever comes up. So let's do this, because the more you practice it, the easier it gets, and the more it almost becomes like your baseline. And we've had lots of practice functioning as I am this person and I need to control the outcome here, and I need to control my life. Otherwise, my life will be out of control and then it would suck, right? However, the more we practice expanding out and sensing the contribution and the presence and the willingness of all that is to support us, the more that, again, becomes natural for us and to sense and tap into. So if you're in a space and place where you can close your eyes, that is optimal. However, if you can't, you can still expand out. All right. So go ahead and soften into whatever surface you're on, whether that's the ground or a chair or a bed. And just relax into that for a moment, sensing the hug of gravity downward, sensing the air in the room, molecules of the air. So you're now expanding your awareness beyond your body out into the room. And see if you can sense the walls of the room, the floor and the ceiling, as you expand bigger and bigger beyond the building, beyond the neighborhood or countryside, to expand throughout the country, to and through the ocean, expanding so much downward, upward, and outward that the earth is within you, bigger and bigger, as you expand your awareness of your awareness across the solar system, across the galaxy, to include this galaxy as one of thousands upon thousands of galaxies in this infinite universe. Now, one of the things when you're in crunchiness, right, we're usually in a mood, we have some contraction in our body. One of the things you can do when you're in that, you're feeling that, is expand that as well. So you're almost stretching it like cotton candy, stretching and stretching and stretching it. And usually you'll find that as you stretch it and expand it across the solar system, that it starts to become more diaphanous, sort of hollow or kind of see-through, right? And so it has less of a quality of sticky, big, contractive, heavy, and more like, that wasn't such a big deal after all, right? So we're expanding it bigger as well, and so big, so big, so big, so big, so big that it becomes like it's nothing really. It loses its significance. And if it still has significance, you haven't expanded it big enough, right? Bigger than that, downward, upward, and outward, bigger and bigger and bigger. Sometimes we think, oh my gosh, if I expanded it so much, it'd become overwhelming and heavy, but actually the opposite is true. And when you expand a quality that's real, like the loving frequency you have for someone, the caring you have for someone, that actually does expand and get bigger. When you expand something that's made up, like upset, frustration, you made that up, that actually loses its heaviness as you expand it across the universe. All right, so play with it. If you have questions, let me know. It's something I've done quite a lot. And you may even like to set up a reminder on your phone, because here's the thing. Sometimes when we need a tool the most is when we forget our tools, right? We're just in it and feeling it. And that's not bad or wrong. Right? And I think one place we get stuck sometimes is making whatever mood we're in bad or wrong, like it shouldn't be there. Instead of, no, actually, this is what is right now. I don't have to push it away. And, some of the questions I like to ask are, what gift is this? And sometimes the frustration might show us like, oh my gosh, like I've dealt with this a lot and I need to change patterns here. Right? Like every time I deal with this person, they have the same response. They're not very nice to me. Okay, cool. Like, how would you like to change that? Would you not like to have them in your life? Would you like to be more direct? Would you like to, so sometimes what that strong emotion or the crunchiness is showing us is something to look at so that we can create a change, right? So what gift is this emotion? What is it showing me? Is there adjustment for me to make? And sometimes it's, oh my gosh, I really like feeling frustrated, or I really like, what do I like about this? I have a YouTube about that. What do I love about this? So the other thing to kind of look at there is whatever you're feeling is actually your choice. I know that sometimes it doesn't feel like it's your choice, right? It feels like, no, they made me feel that way. No, actually, no one can make you feel anything. So I like to use this tool. I learned this probably a decade ago, and then I kind of modified it to fit me and be a little bit more quick, right? And it goes like this. I'm feeling X. Right, so let me say, let's just choose angry. I'm choosing angry. I mean, I'm feeling angry, and I'm feeling angry because I'm choosing to feel that way. I'm choosing angry because I think that works for me. Does it really? So first off, this helps me recognize what it is I'm feeling, and then that I'm choosing that feeling. And I'm choosing it because I think it works for me. Then I get to look at, is it really working for me? I mean, I myself have used anger to my advantage in the past. Even as children, or you've probably seen children who use their tantrum to their advantage, right? They freak out so much that they end up getting the ice cream or the toy or whatever it is they wanted, the extra 10 minutes at the park. But there are useful ways to harness that energy too. I tell the story of me being a mama bear at a museum where this museum worker was just not doing her job, and she just pissed me off, and I ended up getting tickets to the Ferris wheel and all the things, but like harnessing that anger. So sometimes it does work for us. However, a lot of the times it's misdirected energy. Okay? So you can ask, how can I use this energy to my advantage? What message is here for me? And also, okay, cool. So I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling angry because I'm choosing to. I'm choosing to because I think that works for me. Is it really? And then look, yes or no. And okay, what would I rather choose? So that's the fourth line. What would I rather choose? You could even ask, what would work better? So profound. Saying these things, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling it because I'm choosing to. I'm choosing to because I think it works for me. Is it really working? Okay. And what would work better, or what would I rather choose? So these 5 lines shifts so much for me super fast. Mm-hmm. I love fast and effective, and that does it. So, and I've taught it to a lot of people and seen huge results with it. So let me know how it works for you. Yeah, it just kind of like breaks the pattern in your brain. You're going in a direction you don't really want to go, and you're hovering there, and it's like, oh wait, I have choice. I can take a new route, and let's reroute and see what that creates instead. So what would I rather choose? I am a huge believer in your emotions give you information. Right? They're really a gift to you. Like, what is this doing here? Why is that the frequency I'm tapped into? When I'm an infinite being, I could be tapped into any energy. However, right now I'm tapped into the energy of anger, or the energy of sad, or whatever it is. And what is this showing me? What is it telling me? not rejecting it. Because to me, when you're pushing away an emotion or an energy, you're one, making it even more real, and two, bringing in resistance. And instead, if you can welcome it to your door and say, hey, what information are you giving me? Then it can flow, because emotions are energy in motion. So they can flow. And I know a lot of us have been taught, like, oh, well, it's not even yours. Return it to where it came from. However, it's showing up on your door because you're vibrating at that. You're in resonance with it. Right? If you were in resonance with overwhelming joy, that's what you would feel. But you're in resonance with sad, or in resonance with frustration, or whatever it is. So if you welcome it as a gift and then allow it to gift to you and then say goodbye, there's something magical in that. So receiving everything, rejecting nothing, allowing it all to gift to you, even the crunchiness. And as we go on in the show, I've been using, I studied Ho'oponopono for, wow, like 7 years now, and used it off and on in varying ways, because there are several different ways of doing Ho'oponopono. And recently I've been looking at it some more and had some profound insights. It's really shifted my whole life. So we'll talk about that as the show goes on. I'm super eager to share it, and we'll look more at some of the things that bring on crunchiness and some of the ways to dance with it. Thanks so much for being here. I'll be right back. Everyone, this is Kathy Williams, and today we are talking about my favorite tools for when I'm feeling crunchy and off. And I love to hear from listeners. So if you have a comment, if you have a question, this show was inspired by a listener. She messaged me the other day, hey, this is what I want to hear. So I love hearing from you, and meetkathywilliams.com is the place to go to do that. There you can also get a free Create Your Life exercise and a money rain exercise. And we're going to change that up soon. So if you're listening way in the future, there might be something else there. So head on over to meetkathywilliams.com. There you can also find online classes, coaching sessions, and all different things. In fact, tomorrow I'll be having a class called What Are You Avoiding in Relationships? I was asked by a bunch of people to do some stuff on relationships, and I was like, I think I was avoiding that. But tomorrow's class is about what are you avoiding in relationships, and what would happen if you didn't avoid it and you opened the door and allowed it to expand your life. Because avoidance takes energy, right? It takes our energy to avoid something. So what would happen if you freed up that energy to create a different possibility? So that class can be found at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. I'll also be doing, people are asking me to do a class on Ho'oponopono, which I'm gonna talk about in just a moment. We'll talk about Ho'oponopono and the profound effect it's had on crunchiness when crunchiness is in my world. So that'll be coming up too. You can find all upcoming classes at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. And I also have one more fun thing, a bar, like BARRE, exercise class in 20-minute intervals. So it'll be 3 times, a Thursday, a Saturday, and a Tuesday, working different muscle groups to strengthen and lengthen. And it's just super fun. I really love the bar exercise system because it's fun and it's effective and you see results. And I don't have a lot of time. So if I'm going to do something, it's got to have results. And that's what bar does. So you can find that also at meetkathywilliams.com/BARRE. And that'll give you all the details. It's only $20. It's a fun online experience. You'll get the recordings so you can do all those little workouts again and again. All right, so I discussed 5 things I like to look at, and also the expanding out exercise. Another thing that I find super useful when I'm feeling crunchy is to journal. Really get it out on the page. I know people have different practices. Sometimes we write it out and burn it. Right? Sometimes we write it out, and I remember even being a child, I did this big mad at my mom and writing "I hate you," and even now I'm really getting vulnerable. As a little girl, I drew a gun and I was so mad at my mom. You're not my real mom, I'm a princess and you abducted me, right? Stuff like that, where it's just like you're getting it out of your system onto paper. So, in order to change the crunchiness, however, of a situation or an emotional experience, I love to write out my points of view about it. All right, so I mentioned this to a listener this morning, someone in one of my masterminds. She was having frustrations and heaviness around Thanksgiving and all the people and the family and just the energies. So write 10 points of view about it. Oh my gosh, this is too much energy to handle. These people are nuts. They don't like me. Whatever it is, right? I have to prove I'm valuable to them. They're not real, and I'm making some of this up, and some of this was actually what was true. And looking at your points of view. And then using one of the tools. It could be interesting point of view. I have that point of view, which is an access consciousness tool. Or it could be, collapse that point of view back to energy. Or collapse all the patterns around that point of view back to energy. Right? Each of these point of views that you're writing down, each of these points of view is just a thought, right? It's just a thought. There are many possibilities of things to think. Not just that. So writing it down can help you see that's a perspective. And I could also have a different perspective. So I like to always come up with at least 10, if I can, because usually we're aware of several. We might be aware of 3 points of view, 5 points of view that are going on in our head. But if we challenge ourselves to find 10, right, dig a little deeper and dig a little deeper and dig a little deeper. And it might be, these people never liked me. And these people, whatever it is, you're just digging deeper into, what else is down there? What else is down there that I wasn't aware of? And then looking at your points of view, one by one, and letting them go. So you could write those 10 points of view and then use one of those tools I mentioned, interesting point of view, or collapse it back to energy. The other thing you could do is write the opposite point of view. So down the middle of your paper, you could say, okay, here's my point of view. My point of view is these people are boring. The opposite might be, these people are really engaging and interesting. Okay? These people don't like me. Oh, these people do like me, right? And just help yourself realize that, I have options as to what to believe here. I'm choosing this one polarity, but there's also the other side. Kind of like that, what would I rather choose thing. So it's just helping us jolt us out of the automatic programming. We have this thing called the negativity bias. If you've heard my shows about radical abundance, and maybe even some other shows, I talk about the negativity bias because that is the nature of the mind, to look for what's off. And so we might think, in fact, I used to think, I was in a ballet company, oh, that director doesn't like me. Okay, well, if I have that point of view, how am I going to show up to work every day, right? He doesn't like me. That's my point of view. Well, he hired me. But put that aside, right? I didn't think about that. Just he doesn't like me. Well, then I realized at one point, like, oh, he does like me. So then I picked a different guy, like, oh, well, he doesn't like me, right? It was funny to watch that because when I watched myself do that, oh, he likes me, so he doesn't. Then it was like, Kathy, that's all in your head. And so that's some of what these exercises of journaling will do. Help you realize, oh, I'm making it up and then living as though it's true. And we're so powerful. We make all sorts of crap up and then we live as though it's true. Huh. What else are you making up? You could even remind yourself, hey, it's made up. I'm making this up. The other 10 things I like to look at from time to time are, if I'm faced with a crunchy, uncomfortable, annoying, frustrating situation, as the case may be, I like to look at what are 10 gifts in the situation, right? And again, it's sometimes really a challenge to come up with 10 because you're like, well, maybe there's this one gift. Okay, maybe there's a second gift there. Third, it's helping me look at this, right? But if you push yourself a little bit to come up with 7, 10, it's like exercising your awareness, to look for what's right about this, what's working in this. And sometimes as we start to look at, oh, well, this is working, this element of it is working, and I could get that in a much more functional way. I'm getting attention from this, right? Well, how else could I get attention? I mean, a lot of people create illness, and then, as we look at it, they're like, well, I take care of myself because I have this illness. And then we look at it and we're like, well, would you be willing to take care of yourself without the illness? Oh yeah, I could totally do that. And then they can let the illness go. All right. So looking for 10 gifts in the situation. And universe, help me see the gift in this. Universe, what would it take to change this with total ease? Universe, what would it take to get that gift in a more functional way? Universe, what would it take? Another super simple thing to ask when you're feeling crunchy is, universe, what would it take to have ease with this? Okay. I am, as I wrote in the book called Possibilities in Parenting, I used to have a real struggle at that 6 o'clock hour when I'm trying to make dinner and the kids are home and they're just like, and at each other's throats. That used to be consistently a moment of pain for me, right? And when you have those consistent moments of pain, it's time to look at those and be like, oh, wait, how could I do this differently? So just for a moment, look at something that's recurring in your life. Okay? Recurring pain. And how could you do that differently? What occurs to you? Is it a harried morning? oh, well, I could just get everything together, like what I'm going to wear, what the kids are going to wear, the lunches, everything together the night before. Get it stuff in the car the night before, whatever it is. Is it uh, before a trip, right? Oh my gosh, I'm always rushed, and the moment before a trip is always painful. Okay, well, how could you do that differently? Right? And the other question, what would it take to have more ease with this? So even me this morning, I kind of teased you earlier. My son forgot his backpack today. And it was just like, oh. And luckily, the funny thing is, whenever he forgets his backpack, it's always on a day when my morning is not rushed, which is awesome. So I had that moment of like, you forgot your backpack? That's actually the second time this week. Okay. And so what can I do to prevent that pain? Well, put the backpack in the car the night before. Make sure I remember to ask him, hey, do you have your backpack? Have a giant note on the front door. So with clients, sometimes I do this thing called a brain dump, right? And the idea behind it is to find a solution to whatever it is you're going through. So for between 2 and 5 minutes, you get to choose. You just sit and come up with every solution and write down every solution you can think of within that time with no filter. What that means is you're not saying, oh, that one's a really stupid idea. Oh, this is a pretty good idea, right? Stupid or good, that doesn't matter. Like your judgment in this does not matter. It's really about dumping all the solutions, everything you come up with onto the page. And it's profound because sometimes you come up with something that is not the solution, but it's like the solution. It leads to the solution that ends up working, right? So that's one of the things that I do to help in those consistently crunchy situations, those situations that consistently lower my mood. And when we talk about something bringing us down, we're actually really, like, our vibration is going down when we're down. And we are the ones who have the power to lift it up again through expanding out, through using the process of looking at our emotion and then asking, is it really working? And if not, what would work better? Or through getting information from the emotion and making some choices to change something. And the next thing in the next part of the show, we'll talk about Ho'oponopono and the way it was traditionally done, and then the way most people have heard of it more recently, and the insights and changes I've used to make it work even better for me. And it's super, it's one of the most profound things I've been doing of late. So stick around, everybody. I look forward to sharing that with you on Sexy Mom Abundant Life. We'll be back in just a few on IOM.fm. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, all the places. Thanks so much for listening. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. This is Kathy Williams, and today's show is all about my favorite tools, my kind of toolbox for when I'm feeling crunchy. And one of the tools before we head into Ho'oponopono, which I'm super excited about because it's really had a profound impact on me recently, is interesting point of view. And I mentioned it briefly a few minutes ago. And the way I like to use it the most, this access consciousness tool, is to sit with something, whatever's making me crunchy, and be with that particular thing and any thoughts that come up about it for like 3 to 5 minutes. So it might be like, oh my gosh, let me go back to my kid forgot his backpack, or it could be a relationship thing or a money thing or whatever it is. Oh, whatever thoughts occur to you in 3 to 5 minutes about that thing you just said, oh, interesting point of view. I'm aware of that point of view. Interesting point of view. I have that. Interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. And then sometimes we think, we have relationships with others. So we think, oh, well, they'll feel that way. Okay, interesting point of view. They'll have that point of view. Interesting point of view. They feel that way. Interesting point of view, right? For an extended period of time. Again, kind of just helping us realize, like, yes, that's one way of being with something. But there are other ways as well. Super useful. And generally for me, especially when I zero in on a particular topic. I know a lot of people just use interesting point of view as they go throughout their day. To me, that's a lot of being in my head. So I use it as an exercise more. So Ho'oponopono. Okay. This is a practice that a lot of people are aware of as 4 different statements. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. You may have heard them in that order. You may have heard them in any other order. And this is a more modern application of Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is Hawaiian, and I live on Maui, so it's something that I initially started studying like 7 years ago, maybe 8. My son is 7 now, so yeah, about 8 years ago. And I studied it with a kahuna or a shaman. I actually studied a lot of different Hawaiian healing and energy techniques with her. And this this 4-statement application is more recent. So let me just talk about the past application. It used to be that if something wasn't right, Ho'oponopono means to make things right. Okay, so if something was off, then family members would come together and have resolution about it. Okay, so they would get together and talk together and make things right? So I have one Ho'oponopono meditation I lead people through that is about you, and it's in your head, but Ho'oponopono is always about you and your perspective. And so it's like you talking with the other and coming to resolution, right? Because that's the more traditional way it was done. Now, I believe I'm not that good at history. I just don't remember. I mean, I don't remember dates and stuff like that, but I believe it was like in the 70s. Morna Simeona was a modern day kahuna or seer, knower, and she sort of intuited this Ho'oponopono process, which is much more a forgiveness and resolution and be set free process, which talks to the subconscious and the conscious mind and divinity and comes to resolution, right? And one of the people who learned from her was Dr. Ihaliaka Len. And he is well known for being in a book with Joe Vitale. And Joe found him because he was purported to have healed this whole psych ward. I've forgotten if it was a mental hospital, but a whole psych ward based on by just saying, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And healing whatever was in him. Remember, Ho'oponopono is about you. So whatever was in himself causing the problem, whatever was in himself causing their ailment. And he's talked about it. I've heard him talk about, people leaving, going free, not having to be there anymore because they were healed, right? He said, he refers to this process, this 4-part process, as cleaning. And he goes through his day cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning all the time. Right? Whatever I have a problem with, I clean, because the problem is with me. It's my perception that is off. All right. So I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It's all sort of a, I'm going to use the word supplication, but you're talking to the divine. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the errors in my perception. Okay. Please forgive me for that. And thank you. And as he talks about it, he talks about the fact that, like, if any part of that feels off for you, then don't use that word, right? If I love you feels off, don't say that. So for me, as I've played with this, I came back to it recently, I've learned the traditional way of doing Ho'oponopono and that sort of meditation, then changing it into a meditation. I've learned Morna Simayona's version, which is very wordy, like a lot of talking, and then this more modern application. And all of them are super powerful. I mean, we had this crazy guy renting from us, and Ho'oponopono was the only thing that changed things. I mean, I used clearing tools, and I used mantras, and I used all this stuff, and Ho'oponopono was the only thing that created freedom for me. And it was the more wordy version that Morna Simayona brought through. So recently I've been practicing this more short version. And remember, he said that you can throw out any part that doesn't work for you. So I recognize that for me, the I'm sorry part takes me to a lower vibration. Like, I'm sorry, okay? Lower vibration. So I let go of that part. And then I love you, right? That as I started to really kind of grok that, as I started to really like dive into that, I got that I am loving, right? And if I'm loving all experience. I'm loving life as it is. And as I really kind of dove in even more, it was not I, like the personal I, like the ego I. It was more like, life is loving. I am the larger I am loving. Constantly, endlessly, always, in this never-ending flow. And so that became really real for me. And as I'm driving down the road, I can sense that never-ending flow of loving, right? It's ever present. And talk about a tool to get you out of crunchiness. Like, how can there be crunchiness in that, right? I am loving. And in that, there's not even a you. It's just I am loving. And the small, the more personal I is just riding that wave of love. Okay. If this is out there for you, then I am. Okay. So I am loving. Thank you. Like if thank you is the only prayer you said, that would be enough. Like the gratitude and everything. So I am loving. Thank you. And then sometimes I do say I'm sorry, because I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So I am loving. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the please forgive me is the error in my perception, right? The not recognizing that all is in its own flow, right? Oh, life should be different. That's an error in perception, right? That's me thinking shouldn't be this way. Me in resistance, which is in resistance to the flow of what is, right? And that's the only thing that can create my own tension, my own crunchiness, my own low mood is me being in resistance to what is. Yeah. So I am loving. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the idea is that you repeat that as necessary to create a change. And again, you make it your own. Right? If you like the I'm sorry part, keep that. If you like it just as it is, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Use it that way. And for me, it just profoundly opened up when it was like, I am loving. I am loving. And not only like I am loving, like the small I and the large I, but I am loving. Like that's what I am. Just waves of loving energy, that frequency. And like I mentioned earlier, when we're getting down, it's actually going down in frequency. Well, when we're in the frequency of loving, it's just so peaceful, so present, so okay with what is. So this for me has been a hugely profound tool, and I'll talk more about it in one of the upcoming classes online, because even today someone said, Kathy, what do you know about Ho'oponopono? And I was like, well, there is this, there are online certifications you can do. There are, classes you can come to Hawaii and do it. I've led people in Ho'oponopono sessions, all over the world. And of course there are YouTube videos you can find, and everyone has their own perspective on it, a little bit different, because there have been a lot of there are the books, and there are a lot of different, evolutions over time. Like I mentioned, my 3 classes I've taken on it, each totally different. And then the one that most people know about is from E. Haleakala, Hugh Len, and Joe Vitale. And the whole point is to go back to zero, because this is what you're doing is you're cleaning your own memories, because your own lens over the clarity of your seeing life as it is, right? Your memories are what cloud your clarity and your receptivity to life. So these 4 statements, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or like I do it, I'm loving, please forgive me, thank you, are all about just like letting go of those memories that cloud your perception and your receptivity for life as it is. And then you're able to see a problem is only a problem because you've judged it to be a problem. Otherwise, it's simply possibility. It's simply life as it is, constantly loving, constantly gifting. So thanks so much for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. And if you want to join me in an online bar class or in that relationships class tomorrow, visit meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. And have a marvelous holiday. I hope this helps you avoid some of that crunchiness and low mood. And let me know. Until next Thursday, you can find me on YouTube, SoundCloud, and all the other places. If you can't wait till Thursday, have a wonderful week. Aloha.